Welcome to Podsdale, brought to you by the City of Scottsdale. Join us to explore the stories that make our city a world-class community.
Welcome back to Podsdale, the official podcast of the City of Scottsdale. I'm your host, Greer, and today we're getting into the Halloween spirit with a very special episode. I'm joined by a new face in the city's Communications and Citizen Service Department, our newest public information officer, Gale Bass. Gale, we're so glad to have you co-hosting today.
It's great to be here, loving the City of Scottsdale, but I'm a little spooked out because my first show is like a Halloween show. And I'm scary. I'm scared of everything.
Well, I think this is a great episode to have you come and be a co-host for, because it wouldn't be Halloween without a spooky story, and we've invited beloved citizen advisor Bruce Wall to join us. Bruce has a Scottsdale tale that's perfect for this time of year, and one that might just give Gale the goosebumps.
That's my goal.
Well, Bruce, thanks for being on today. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story that you're here to tell us about today?
Yes, this one is I call The Unkindest Cut of All. And it'll make a lot more sense why it's called that in just a minute. We're going to go back in time to the year 1980, a very interesting time for Scottsdale because Mayor Herb Drinkwater first became mayor in 1980, and he continued to be mayor for 4 terms. This was before term limits. Scottsdale in 1980 looked like the same size that we are today, but a lot less people, about 88,000 people in Scottsdale, and there were 88 square miles, so pretty close. And Phoenix had 789,000 people.
They've grown a little bit.
Just a tad. To give us some cultural touchstones to put us back in the frame of mind of 1980, the winner of the 1980 Best Picture was the movie Kramer versus Kramer. It beat out All That Jazz, Apocalypse Now, Breaking Away, and Norma Ray. The number one TV show in this time of 1980 was the TV show Dallas, just a few months after the famous Who Shot JR episode.
And you know what? I was a little girl when that happened. I was around in 1980, Bruce, and I remember I guessed who done it.
Oh, you're better than me.
It was
I
his
had no
sister-in-law
idea.
who was sleeping with JR.
Yep, it was indeed. Mary Crosby was the murderer. That was the name of the actress. And the song of the week in 1980 was Christopher Cross's song, Sailing. So I hope that gets you in the frame of mind, Greer.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, this is a little before my time, but I'll pretend I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a time of good yacht rock. Let's just say it for what it is.
Absolutely. So our victim is a lady named Madeline or Lindy DeBrucker. She was from Minnesota, and she moved to Scottsdale in 1977. She bought a house in the Old Town area, just a little bit north of Chaparral Road, near Pima Road. Lived in it, loved it, very proud of her house, took care of her yard. She said that her priorities were her yard, her home, and her job in that order.
Did she live alone?
She did leave alone, but she had a boyfriend. So her boyfriend's name was Robert Eugene Anderson, but everyone called him Bob. And Bob had been married once. He got divorced, and he was working as a truck driver at the time that she met him. Lindy allowed him to live in the house for 2 years, and Bob was fine for most of the time except when he got drunk. And when he got drunk, he started becoming violent, and it wasn't good when he got violent. Lindy got a job at AME Meats or AIM Meats on McDowell as an office manager. Now, we're going to go back to August 19th, 1980. This is the start of it. This is a Tuesday, and everything's going to happen within 1 week. So first off, on August 19th, 1980, Bob and Lindy get into a fight. She orders him out of the house, so he steals her car keys and then steals her car. And her car was also her baby, a 2-door 1975 Cadillac Coupe de Ville.
That's a shame.
Yep.
He stole her caddy.
Powder blue.
What a jerk.
Yep. She reported it to the police department and said she would aid in prosecution. The next day, Wednesday, one of her neighbors saw that he was back in her house. So she drove over and confronted him, and she called the police, and the police arrived, and he was quite drunk, and he started saying, well, maybe I won't give you the car back. Maybe it's mine forever. And the police officer explained to him that if they don't recover the car, then he's going to go away for a long time. So then he backpedaled and said it's actually on the next street, and they recovered the car. But as he was taken away in handcuffs, He yelled so that all the neighbors and the police officer could hear, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, there you go.
I mean, in court, that's evidence.
Yes. That is sometimes referred to as a clue. But we're going to have way more clues than that. Now, so he gets arrested. Then this is now Sunday, the 24th of August. So this is 5 days later. He is seen walking down Chaparral in a white shirt that says MCSO and blue jeans. And that will be very important later on in the case. A sergeant was sent out, made contact with him, and he said that he had bonded out himself and that all the charges were going to be dropped by Monday. That was his version of what had happened. It was not reality.
So this was clearly before Sheriff Joe Arpaio's pink underwear.
Clearly before this.
Okay.
Yes. 1980, over 15 years before pink underwear. So he is seen, they have his description, and then he's gone. The next day is Monday, August 25th, and Lindy doesn't show up to work. And Lindy never was late for work. Or if she was even remotely going to be late for work for any reason, if she was sick, she would call and say, "I'm sick, I'm not feeling well." So everyone knew something was wrong right away. Finally, during lunch, one of her coworkers drove by the house and there was no sign and it just looked wrong and creepy. So
That's the first sign.
she came back to work, said, "We need to call police and have an officer check." So when the sergeant had talked to Bob Anderson, and when he was getting arrested, they said, "How did you get back in the house?" And he said that there was an air conditioning unit on a window of a back door, and he could take it off and jump in the house whenever he wanted. So that's a bad thing.
Just a little, maybe.
And again, he
gosh.
told that to the police when he was getting arrested. Again, he was very drunk at the time. So the officers respond to the house. The sergeant is the same sergeant. He remembers. He said he can get in by taking the air conditioning unit. So they take the air conditioning unit off, and they have the reason why they did this was they looked in the backyard over the fence and they could see a trail of blood. So they now have exigent circumstances. They've got to make entry. So they remove the air conditioning unit. They get a young officer to jump through the window, come in, and this is when they start to find the crime scene. What they see is a hatchet and a claw hammer out on the counter, out on the sun deck, and there's a trail of blood leading into the house. When they get into the house, there's Lindy's body, and she's been cut with a hatchet and the claw hammer, and multiple cuts.
You know, when somebody's brutalized like that, they say that that's very personal. Obviously,
Yes.
that was her live-in boyfriend.
Yes, her former live-in boyfriend. He had just been ordered out of the house, but yes. So they now have a good idea of who the suspect is, and they have a good idea, but it's even worse. When they check the house, they go in the second bedroom, and in there is a pile of bloody clothes. And when they handle this, they find that it's blue jeans and a white shirt that says MCSO on it.
Rookie mistake.
Greer, the Greer and Gale show are starting to come to a conclusion that it may have been him.
That he's a prime suspect at this point, a person of interest, as they call it. So they have a lot of very good evidence at this point that he's the person. So they start to canvass the neighborhood. And one of the things that they find is one of the neighbors tells them, "Yeah, it's kind of weird. Sometimes like 8 or 9 this morning, I saw a guy take a ladder and he leaned it up against Lindy's fence and then he jumped over the fence. I didn't do anything about it. I didn't say anything. I just thought it must have been that must have been someone who was trying to get in there to do some work for her."
Make
Over
that
the
make sense.
fence?
Over the fence.
It's crazy.
So they now have a lot of information about what it could possibly be. But Bob decides that he's just going to get out of town. So Bob buys a ticket on Western Airlines. Western Airlines was an old-time radio station. It was merged with Delta in 1987. Their motto was, "Western Airlines, the only way to fly." And while he was waiting for his flight, he had a few drinks of alcohol. Then he got on the flight, and what did he do? He had a few more drinks of alcohol. Then he flies to L.A., and where does he do? He goes right to a bar and has a few more drinks of alcohol. So he's pretty much plastered. And while he's there, he picks up the phone and he calls his sister that was living in another state. And he says, he starts slurring his speech, and she says, "Bob, I can't understand you." And she gathers that he said, I may have done something to Lindy.
I may have done. That sounds like a confession.
So she says to him, look, whatever happened, whatever you did, deal with your business. Go back and take care of business. That's, how we were raised. So he buys another ticket and he flies back on Western Airlines back to Phoenix. But he's not ready to take care of business quite yet. He decides that he'll get a hotel room and he'll get a little bit more drunk before he turns himself in.
Liquid courage he needs, apparently.
Apparently. So he's driving Lindy's car that had been at the airport, and now he drives her car to a gas station in Tempe, and he buys gas with Lindy's credit card.
Oh, come on, dude.
You know what? I'm thinking of today's technology. There is no way they wouldn't have been able to track this guy nowadays.
Yeah.
They tracked him all down from even back then, old school.
Eventually they did, but at the time, they should, he would have had a cell phone on him. They would have been able to find him.
Right.
Or his sister would have said, where are you? And called the police. Well, she told him to turn himself in.
Well, and in true crime stuff nowadays, if I saw someone sticking a ladder up on the top of one of my neighbor's fences, the first thing I would do is be like, boop, boop, boop. Hey, I need to report something suspicious.
Wait, Greer, at your age, you would have been tickety-talking it.
Yeah, true.
This guy is using a ladder to get into my neighbor's house.
True. You caught me.
And the other neighbor would have had a Ring camera that caught it.
Yep.
So after he gets gas and he uses her credit card and the police were able to get the credit card. This is back when you actually had a receipt. When you used a credit card, they the machine.
Yes.
So they had the one copy and he had the copy, and his copy was found on his person. And then he drove to the Howard Johnson's hotel and he started drinking again. And the police first got a phone call. They did a story. They need the public's help because this lady was murdered, and the gas station attendant sees the name and goes, oh, I remember that name. That was that guy that seemed so drunk when he was filling up his car. So they called to report it. Then the Scottsdale police floods Tempe until they find Lindy's car, the baby blue Cadillac, at the Howard Johnson's. It's located right across the street from Gamage Theater on Apache, and today it's called
The Graduate.
The Graduate.
I've stayed there a couple times.
By Hilton.
I've had the food there that they've had they had at a restaurant.
Oh, the normal restaurant?
Yeah, they had good pancakes at the time.
Good. Excellent. Well, that's where Bob was found, and the police, he registered in his own name in the hotel. So
Another rookie mistake if you're fleeing.
Yeah. Does not know how to evade the police.
No, clearly not. So he is found passed out drunk in the hotel room. In the place, there's the victim's car keys, the victim's credit card, and the victim's jewelry. He has all of that stuff.
He's a chump.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Well, he's making it very easy to prosecute. Let's just put it that way.
I'm glad he did, because poor Lindy, she loved her house. She was an independent woman in the 80s, and then she loved her job in her yard. Mm-hmm. And had a powder blue caddy. She was living the American dream.
She was. She even had a mink coat. Back
Bougie.
then. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is 1 week later from this whole time starting. This is now Tuesday, the 26th. Bob is arrested, and he's actually shown in the newspaper a picture of him led by a detective being taken into custody. Now, he is so drunk that he's worthless, so they have to let him sleep it off for 24 hours before they can interview him. And then he starts getting a little cagey. He says, I might have done something. Well, tell us a little bit more. Well, there's something. It might have been involving a hatchet. It might have. And he starts telling more and more and more. And before you know it, he's essentially confessed to it and said that he did it. So they print a obituary for Lindy in the newspaper. It's kind of sad because following the convention of newspapers at the time, they didn't say horribly murdered or anything like that. They said died at her home.
Oh.
And again, that's just what they did. But it just focused on this poor woman who was the total victim of this crime, and this guy has been arrested. He was found guilty. Actually, I'm sorry, not guilty. He pleaded no contest to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 18 years in prison by the Maricopa County Superior Court.
Is he out now?
He's out. He's been out for a while.
And
Is
he
he
lives
still alive?
He's not still alive.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
So, and that actually leads us into my last part of these stories is where are they now? So Lindy DeBrucker was buried at Paradise Memorial Gardens at 9300 East Shea Boulevard. The DeBrucker family shared that information with me. Mm-hmm. Harry Cipriano, who's the detective, and he and Chris Bingham made the arrest. I called him and I spoke to him on the phone. He doesn't live in this state. And I said, hey, can you tell me about this case? And he said, can I tell you about one of my really cool cases? This one was so easy. This one was like, this guy did everything he could to get himself convicted. Whereas I have so many more interesting cases, but I was like, I want to know about this case. So he said, yeah, I'll tell you about it. So he told me about it, and he's living happily in retirement. Chris Bingham is the other person. He retired as a captain from the Scottsdale Police Department, and his son is a sergeant currently with the Scottsdale Police Department.
Very cool.
Okay,
He's
good.
the sergeant of the school resource officers at the present time. Captain Bingham retired, and he's doing fine from last I heard. Robert Eugene Anderson was released by Arizona Department of Corrections in 1995 after serving out his sentence. And I was actually fortunate to have one of the Scottsdale police detectives was able to share that with me. He said he lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and then in Walnut, Illinois, and before he died at around the age of 85.
Wow.
Wow.
What a story.
He didn't even serve the whole 18 years.
Yeah. So her cousin, Lindy's cousin, Lindy DeBrucker's cousin is Mark DeBrucker. And Mark DeBrucker works currently for the Scottsdale Fire Department, and he's a battalion chief. And he has a pretty interesting story, and it kind of doesn't really exactly tie in, but I think you'll find it interesting. One day, this is about 2000-ish. It's 2012. Mark was driving down westbound on Frank Lloyd Wright at Hayden Road when a U-Haul truck went through a red light and collided with two vehicles. The U-Haul truck stopped just feet away from Mark's Scottsdale Fire Department SUV. The driver of the U-Haul got out of the truck and attempted to carjack other vehicles to make his escape. The suspect was a man named Kenyatta Kindu. He was 6'4", weighed 250 pounds, very muscular, and he was carrying thousands of dollars from a bank he just robbed in Phoenix.
Wow.
DeBrucker at the time was 43 years old, 5'10", and weighed 170 pounds. Mark said that he reacted and took on the man because he couldn't live with himself. This man decided he would carjack a mom who had a child in the back seat of the car. Mm-hmm. And he said he could not live with himself if he didn't do something to stop it. So Mark essentially approached him and challenged him to fight to stop him from carjacking the car. Whatever happened, even though this guy was much bigger, they got into a fight, and Kindu, the suspect, fled the area and was arrested by Phoenix police, who had to tase him to take him into custody.
So
Wow.
What happened to the money that he was stealing?
The money was recovered,
Okay.
and the vehicle that he had stole, the U-Haul truck, it was recovered, and Kindu was arrested. So Mark was declared a hero by the Scottsdale Fire Department. He was actually given a medal
Wow.
for saving this person. And it all came back to Mark saying, I could not live with myself if I allowed this to happen. And some people are remembered in statues and monuments. Some people are remembered by the people that they loved and how they touched while they're part of this world. And sometimes the spirit of the person lives on. Lindy was not able to overcome an attack from a man with a hatchet and a claw hammer who was drunk and overpowered her.
Right.
But her cousin was able to take on a man far bigger than him and stop him so that he would flee, and then he would become declared a hero by the Scottsdale Fire Department.
What are the odds?
That's so cool.
So I first found out about this story from Mark. He told me about Lindy, and then he didn't even tell me. He's so quiet and unassuming. I Googled his name, and then this story came out from 2012 that he was a hero, and Lindy was, to me, tried to be a hero, and she tried to save herself. She was just overpowered. So there's something in those DeBrucker family that they're tough and they fight.
Well, wow, what a story. But it just brings to mind so many people live in these high-walled communities and they may not know their neighbors, this is a good reason to get to know your neighbors. So if
Absolutely.
you see that ladder going over, be suspicious because
Right.
if somebody lives alone, they need other people to have their eyes out. But wow, what a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us, Bruce.
So that's the unkindest cut of all.
I see where that comes from now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce, thank you so much for coming on Podsdale today. This episode isn't slated to release until the end of October, but I do know you have some programs that you're facilitating throughout the fall. Do you have any that you'd like to plug?
Oh, absolutely. For employees, I'm going to do a lunchtime, I think it's October 28th, a lunchtime brown bag called Hallowed Tales of Scottsdale. It's going to be some other stories, not this one, of ghosts and things that are a little odd and scary. And it's going to be at the Community Design Studio, a building that was named by the U.S. Ghost Tours as the most haunted building in Scottsdale.
Which is what I was told in my first week here.
And we happily work out of it.
I was like, it used to be a church. Was it the Holy Ghost?
So that event you just mentioned is for employees only, correct?
Yes, but on October 30th at night at 6:30, I'm going to repeat the presentation. It's 1 hour long for the general public.
And if someone wants to attend this event, where can they find more information and register?
Absolutely. They go to Scottsdale AZ website and search college.
Perfect.
And it's for part of our neighborhood college program.
Perfect. Well, Bruce, thanks again for coming on. We always love having you, and we love hearing all of those spooky stories you've got to share with us. And Gale, thank you so much for coming on and being my co-host today. I had so much fun sharing this time with you guys.
Well, thank you, Greer, for asking me to do this. Can I come back?
Of course you can. We have you anytime.
That's all for this episode of Podsdale. If you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe. You can find us on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app. Share episode ideas and provide your feedback by emailing communications@scottsdaleaz.gov. Thanks for listening.